Question number 7 gives us f of x and g of x functions. The f blue function here is f of x and the red function is g of x. And it asks us to combine functions as f plus g, f minus g, g minus f, and predict what the graphs of those are going to look like. So a couple things we're going to look at here. So first of all, if we take a look at the f of x function, it's a positive function and it is slightly narrower than the negative g of x function here, the negative leading coefficient. So when we combine these together, we should expect a positive function because this being narrow means it has a larger leading coefficient, and when we add the negative smaller leading coefficient, we should end up with a positive. The other thing is we can look at some points. So here we're going to end up with a positive leading coefficient, and if we take a look at B and C, those are two positive leading coefficients. Because our leading coefficient will be smaller, we should expect it to be wider, so likely going to be B. Some other points we can look at are just some coordinates. So looking at the x equals 0 on both of these, so if we have f of x is negative 1, f of 0 is negative 1, g of 0 is positive 3, we should expect the combined function to be equal to positive 2. So that kind of confirms that the coordinate fb is the same. Same with, we can see if the vertex matches. We can just test a couple more points. Here we're looking at the combined function at x equals 4 should equal negative 6. So if we take a look at f of 4, we get negative 1. G of 4 is equal to negative 5. Combine those together, we get negative 6. So we can see that the coordinates are matched. We have a match for a few coordinates. The bigger picture looks like it's about right. It's a positive, wider leading, positive opening up parabola. And it's a little bit wider because we're going to have those leading coefficients work against each other. So B is going to be the graph for A. So this is going to be f plus g of x. Looking at f minus g, well, f is a leading coefficient, is a positive leading coefficient. G is a negative leading coefficient. So if we just if we subtract g from f, we should end up with a positive minus a negative, which means we're going to have the positive leading coefficient. So C should match the graph of B. So the function B should match the graph of C. We can test some coordinates as well. Again, we can test the y-intercept as an easy point to test. So g of 3, so f of 0 is negative 1. So we're going to have negative 1 minus positive 3. We should end up with a negative 4, and that point does coincide with that. So again, the bigger idea of the leading coefficients, the direction of opening seems to match, and a test of a coordinate seems to match. So the function B goes with graph C. And then if we take a look at G minus F, so we have a negative leading coefficient minus a positive leading coefficient, we should expect an upside down parabola. Again, if we test the coordinates, we're going to have G, which is negative 1 minus, F is negative 1, G is positive 3, so we end up with positive 3 minus negative 1 at the y-intercept. We're going to end up with a positive 4 y-intercept, so that also matches. So when we test a coordinate, that seems to match as well. So the function C matches graph A.